4. Well played, dear God. Lavanya Verma's POV. I was in a hurry to get to work today, so I skipped breakfast, something I rarely do. But yesterday, we were informed that the owner of D. Dawson, Mr. Dawson himself, would be visiting our office. We were strictly instructed to arrive on time and maintain discipline. Professionalism isn't something we usually prioritize here. In India, workplaces often feel like big families, with employees as the family members. That's what I love most about my country. No unnecessary rules, just freedom. We genuinely enjoy our workspaces. Of course, we also uphold moral values and respect for one another, which we dare not compromise. Today, however, we needed to put on our best performance for Mr. Dawson, who's visiting India for the first time. I've heard great things about his late father, but nothing much about him. Already running late, I quickly said goodbye to my parents and left the apartment. My mother wasn't pleased that I skipped breakfast. It's okay, Mama. I'll make it up to you when I get home. My father, now a retired banker, is a calm and supportive man, while my mother, a homemaker, has always been my biggest cheerleader. As their only child, I've been pampered endlessly. When I told them I wanted this job, they smiled and supported me without hesitation. We're a higher middle class family, and while we're content, we still cherish the little joys of life. So sad. I got this job last year after completing my MBA, and the happiness on my parents' faces made it even more special. As I stepped out of the apartment, I opted for a cab since my two-wheeler had broken down the day before. I didn't want to risk being late. The guard at our building greeted me with his usual bright smile after taking prasad from me, a ritual I've grown fond of. He's a kind man. Once I reached the office, I rushed to my department on the 3rd floor. After completing half of my tasks, I started feeling hungry. Turning towards Ruhi, I decided to check if she was free. Ruhi, I'm starving. I'm heading to the canteen. Want to come? I asked, glancing at her as she typed away furiously at her computer. I met Ruhi last year when I joined the company, and we've been friends ever since. She's not exactly my type, but our bond has grown strong. Ruhi Shah is a woman who can talk about anything at any time. She's like a doctor cum detective cum best friend cum enemy and much more. She has a short temper and can switch personalities like flipping a switch. In short, she's everything. Her personality depends entirely on the moment. I often call her Transformer because of how effortlessly she adapts to any situation. Despite her quirks, Ruhi is a genuinely helpful and pure soul. She's not the humblest person, but is incredibly straightforward, unapologetically honest, and refreshingly non-diplomatic. No babes, I have loads of work. My manager doesn't have a crush on me like yours does. You go. Ruhi replied in a taunting tone, her eyes glued to her desktop screen. See, that's exactly what I was talking about. She teases me every time she gets the chance. She's convinced that Virat sir has a massive crush on me. I've told her 1,000 times that he was just my senior in college and we talk like friends. But she insists he blushes every time he speaks to me. As usual, her ridiculous psychologist side shows up whenever his name is mentioned. I don't like it, but it's been a year now and I can't keep repeating the same sentence every day. He's just my senior and now my boss. So, I've started ignoring her silly theories and comments. Rolling my eyes, I stood up and headed towards the elevator. As I got inside, the hunger pangs hit harder. I'd only had a glass of juice before leaving home, and now I felt weak and famished. Mama was right. Skipping breakfast was a bad idea. The elevator reached the 4th floor, the topmost floor where the canteen was located. I quickly made my way to the counter to order some sandwiches. But just as I arrived, something sharp scratched my right collarbone. The pain was instant, accompanied by a burning sensation on my neck. Reflexively, I covered the wounded area with my hand. Hey, I heard a voice. Unfamiliar, apologetic, and accented, saying, Sorry. Whose voice is that? It was a man's voice, but it didn't sound Indian. The accent was distinctly American, or so I thought. Blinking rapidly, I opened my eyes to meet a pair of keen blue eyes, a rare color, especially here in India. He was saying something, but I wasn't paying attention. I was too busy observing him. I'd never seen him in the building before. Was he a new employee? Or perhaps a foreign client? From behind him, I heard Kripal uncle shouting, Sir, your coffee! I realized he was trying to offer the man his coffee, but the foreigner seemed oblivious, his gaze fixed firmly on me. He was ignoring everything else, which made me feel deeply uncomfortable. Some men never know how to behave. They'll always be the same. Men, doesn't matter where they are or where they come from, disgusting. I glanced around to see if anyone was watching us, but everyone seemed busy. Yet his persistent stare made my discomfort grow. I tried to point out that his order was ready, but he didn't respond. His ignorance infuriated me. Finally, I snapped, Your coffee! He furrowed his eyebrows, looking confused. But when Kripal uncle shouted at him again, he turned away and I took the opportunity to leave the place as quickly as possible. Forget this sandwich. Let's just get out of his sight. I'll eat something later. I rushed to the washroom to check on my wound. In the mirror, I saw a long scratch trailing down my right collarbone. It was bleeding enough to be noticeable even from a distance. The scratch looked odd, almost as if someone had intentionally tried to scrape my skin. Grabbing a bandage from my purse, I carefully cleaned and covered the wound. It stung, but it needed to be taken care of. I'm like most Indian girls who carry all sorts of essentials in their handbags. From safety pins and glue to toothpicks and scarves, I have everything. Noticing a few girls entering the washroom out of the corner of my eye, I quickly adjusted my yellow georgette dupatta to cover the wound. Thank God I always wear salwar kameez and a dupatta. The truth is, I love Indian outfits. Nowadays, not many girls wear them, especially in professional settings. I don't understand why, but I've never felt comfortable in Western clothing. So yes, I'm the only one in this office who still wears traditional attire. Sometimes, the other girls stare at me like I'm some alien from another era. I don't judge anyone based on what they wear, so I've learned to ignore their judgment of me. I stepped out of the washroom and hurried back to my cabin to finish my work. My appetite was already gone. After a few minutes, an announcement came through the speakers, informing us that all employees were required to gather in the conference hall within half an hour. 15 minutes later, the entire staff from all floors had assembled in the large hall. Conversations buzzed around us as we waited. Managers and senior staff from various departments stood at the front, facing the rest of us. One of the senior executives stepped forward, cleared his throat into the microphone, and began, A very good morning, everyone. As you were informed yesterday, Mr. Dawson is visiting our Indian branch today. However, I'm delighted to announce that he won't just be here for today. We're fortunate to have him with us for an extended period. In fact, he will be guiding us for the rest of this year. I hope you will all put forth your best work and make him proud of us. The room filled with applause, the sound echoing off the walls. The man continued. And now, it's time to introduce the boss of your bosses, the man you've been working for these past 18 years. He is none other than the son of our company's founder, the late Mr. David Dawson. Please welcome Mr. Jackie Dawson. He gestured toward the main door and all heads turned to see who was entering. As the door opened, a man walked in, waving his right hand once in acknowledgement. The applause grew louder and I joined in, clapping like everyone else. But as his face became clearer, my hands froze mid-motion. My jaw dropped. What? The cayenne blue-eyed man who had been staring at me like a villain an hour ago is the owner of this company. How did that happen? So, he wasn't a new employee or a foreign client as I had assumed. He was none other than Mr. Jackie Dawson. I almost lost all my senses and felt completely numb. Just minutes ago, I had been glaring at him with so much hatred, and now, here he was, the creator of this empire. Wow! What is wrong with my fate? Dear God, well played. I glared upwards in disbelief. Thankfully, he didn't notice me as he crossed paths near where I was standing. I turned my gaze to the front, avoiding him completely. He walked straight to the front of the room. But now, what if he does see me? What if, no, he won't? Unconsciously, I lowered my head, trying to hide behind the people standing in front of me. He's so hot, my God! I heard Ruhi whispering excitedly, but I paid no attention to her unnecessary remarks. Hey, what are you doing? She whispered loudly, staring at me. Huh? I jolted, startled by her question. I didn't know what to say. Nothing? That was the brilliant reply I managed. Great. You're acting weird today, she commented, frowning. Ignoring her, I turned my focus to the front, only to find him gazing back at me with a blank expression. My reflexes kicked in and I ducked behind someone in the front row. Oh God, he saw me. But why was I panicking so much? Why was I even hiding from him? Because you thought he was some random rude employee. But he's actually the owner of this company, my mind retorted. While the managers gave their speeches, I was busy playing hide and seek with my thoughts and trying not to look at him. Summoning every ounce of courage I had, I glanced toward the front. My eyes locked with him again. He was still looking at me. Panicked, I lowered my gaze once more, my heart racing. Oh no, he's definitely recognized me now. The embarrassment, awkwardness, and sheer weirdness of the situation were overwhelming. Meanwhile, the speeches continued. Suddenly, I noticed him holding a microphone. Hello everyone, as you all know, I'm Jackie Dawson, the owner of this empire, D. Dawson. And yes, I came here to spy on you, he said with a playful smirk. The hall erupted in laughter, except for me. Jokes aside, I want all of you to work hard. Well, you've always been hardworking, but this time, I want 120% from you. Give more than your best to this company, and soon, based on your monthly work performance, we will announce promotions. He paused, letting his words sink in before continuing. I know you've been dealing with a lot of uncertainty over the past 5 or 6 months regarding your posts and promotions. I'm here to fix that. But let me be clear, achieving something better requires competitiveness. So pull your socks up and fasten your seatbelts because you're about to embark on the best possible journey of your career. I want each of you to be successful in your field of work. All the very best. If you need anything, your respective managers and I are always here to support you. So, let's see the absolute best of your skills, yeah? He ended his speech with an encouraging smile, his voice filled with confidence. The room filled with enthusiastic applause. Yes! Everyone shouted in unison, their enthusiasm filling the hall. Okay then, see you out in the field. Thank you. Mr. Dawson concluded his speech, his tone professional yet warm. But, before that, sir, one of the managers interjected, stepping forward and holding the mic. We, the employees of D. Dawson India, would like to welcome you with open hearts. Additionally, we would like to invite you to the welcome party we've organized for you this evening after work. Oh, sure. Thank you. Mr. Dawson replied graciously, a polite smile on his face. After the conference, everyone dispersed, returning to their respective cabins and workstations. What are you going to wear to the party tonight? Ruhi asked as we walked back to our floor. I don't know, a mini skirt maybe? I replied sarcastically, raising an eyebrow. Ruhi sighed heavily, her expression clearly showing her annoyance. What? I asked defensively. You know I only wear Indian clothes, mostly salwar kameez, so there's no point in asking me what I'll wear. She rolled her eyes but nodded in defeat. We worked diligently until the lunch break, and by then, my hunger was unbearable. I grabbed my lunchbox, eager to finally eat something,